galaxy never cared about Earth. To the great empires, humans were nothing. Weak, divided, still crawling on their small blue world. The mighty races laughed when they looked at Earth's technology. It was trash-holed machines, broken satellites, crude rockets. Not worth stealing, not worth fearing. But that mistake would soon haunt the galaxy. It began on the edge of the Outer Rim, where the Dravari Empire sent patrol ships, were hunting for smugglers, pirates, anything to tax or destroy. Instead, their scanners picked up something strange, a giant field of old machines drifting in orbit around Earth. Rusted satellites, dead probes, space junk. Millions of fragments and broken shells floated like a ring of garbage. The Dravari commander sneered. Pathetic. They cannot even clean their orbit. The crew laughed. To them, this was not a defense, not even a sign of civilization. It was just trash. But deep inside that trash, something moved. For years, humans had hidden their progress. While the galaxy ignored them, Earth worked in silence. They took old rockets, dead machines, useless metal, and rebuilt them. What looked like garbage was not garbage at all. It was a cloak, a graveyard disguise. Beneath the shadows of junk, hidden stations spun silently. Secret shipyards hummed with power. And in the dark, Earth was building something no empire expected. The first sign came too late for the Dravari. Their patrol ship, a sleek war cruiser, drifted close to the debris.
Ow.
The commander mocked Earth again. If this is their wall of defense, we should burn it down for amusement. Then the junk field came alive. Old satellites that had not worked for centuries suddenly powered up. Tiny sparks of blue light danced across them. From the wreck of a rusted rocket, panels unfolded, releasing hidden drones. From shattered metal, weapons emerged, silent, waiting, aimed. The commander's laughter froze. What is this? The junk swarmed. Thousands of drones, hidden for years, woke at once. They flew with deadly precision, tearing into the cruisers. Shields, railguns, disguised as broken antennas, fired. Missiles buried in what looked like dead stations launched in waves. The patrol ship had no chance. In minutes, the proud Dravari warcruiser was reduced to glowing fragments. Screams lost in the void, but Earth did not cheer. This was only the beginning, far below. In the hidden command bunker, under the Rocky Mountains, General Marcus Hale watched the destruction on his screen. His face was cold. For years, he and others had prepared for this moment. Humanity was not ready to reveal itself, but the galaxy had come too close. They think we are weak, Hale said quietly. They think this is trash. Let them keep thinking it until the time comes. Across Earth, secret networks activated. Factories disguised as civilian plants switched to war production. Orbital stations hidden in the junk field hummed to full power. Silent fleets, built from recycled scraps, rose from their hiding places, and still, the galaxy did not know. The Dravari Empire sent another patrol, then another. Both vanished. The Council of Races received reports. 3 ships missing near Earth. Most ignored it. Some joked about it. Who could fear a primitive world of trash? Only one voice in the council spoke differently. Ambassador Kale of the Serati leaned forward in the great chamber and hissed, "You fools, you mock them. Something is there. Something is hiding." No one listened. Meanwhile, Earth kept building. Every piece of junk that floated above, the planet was used. Every broken satellite was reborn as a weapon. What looked like chaos was a hidden order. Humanity had turned its weakness into armor, and they remembered. For centuries, empires had called them backward. For centuries, no one had offered them a place at the table. The galaxy had mocked them. But humans had one advantage no one understood. They never wasted anything. The old trash became their wall. The forgotten machines became their teeth. And soon, the galaxy would learn. The nightmare had only just begun. The Dravari Empire could not ignore it anymore. 3 patrol ships gone. No survivors, no signals. It's only silence near Earth. At first, they still laughed, maybe pirates said. One admiral, maybe a navigation mistake. But deep inside, they were uneasy. Patrol ships did not vanish like that. Not in minutes, not without even sending a final distress call. So they sent a task force. Not one cruiser, not two, but 10. Each armed with plasma cannons, shield arrays, and fighters, enough power to burn an entire planet to ash. The order was simple. Go to Earth, investigate, and destroy anything that resists. When the 10 warships entered orbit, they saw it at once, the field of junk. Millions of fragments floating around the blue world. It looked harmless, pathetic even. Broken metal drifting with no purpose. The Dravari commander smirked. This is what destroyed our ships? Rubbish? Fire at will? The first volley of plasma. Blasts lit the sky. Thousands of pieces of junk vaporized instantly. Old satellites melted into glowing dust. For a moment, the Dravari laughed again. Then the junk moved. Hidden turrets, cloaked beneath layers of broken scrap, powered up. Hundreds of drones unfolded from the wreckage of dead rockets. Mines that looked like harmless debris drifted toward the fleet. The orbit of Earth, which seemed empty, turned into a battlefield. The Dravari were shocked. Their plasma fire had awoken the trap. Shields up, fire at everything. The commander screamed, but it was too late. His missiles, disguised as metal chunks, exploded in their formation. A cloud of microdrones tore into the hulls of 2 cruisers, cutting through armor like knives through paper. One ship broke apart instantly, its engines bursting into fire. Another spiraled into the atmosphere, burning as it fell. The commander's ship shook under impact. On his screen, hundreds of red warning signals flashed. He couldn't believe it. These are human weapons. Possible. But it was real. Down on Earth, General Marcus Hale and his officers watched carefully. In the hidden bunker, the screens glowed with tactical maps. Every movement of the Dravari fleet was tracked. Every weapon hidden in orbit was unleashed with precision. Hale's voice was calm. Hold them in orbit. Don't let them reach the ground. The Council must not know our full power yet. Not yet. The officers obeyed. They had trained for years in secret. They knew this day would come. Above Earth, the battle turned into chaos. The Dravari fired volley after volley, but the more they destroyed, the more weapons appeared. Junk was endless. Behind every broken satellite was a hidden turret. Behind every dead probe was a drone waiting to strike. The battlefield itself was the weapon. One cruiser tried to retreat. Its engines roared as it turned toward deep space. But a net of magnetic mines, disguised as a cluster of old shipwrecks. Activated, they clamped onto the hull and tore it apart. The ship vanished in a flash of fire. Another cruiser launched its fighters. Hundreds of small craft screaming toward the junk field. For a moment, it looked like they might break through. But the fighters soon realized the horror. They were flying into a maze. Broken metal twisted around them, forcing them to dodge, forcing them to slow. And then the drones came, swarming like angry insects. The human machines ripped the fighters to pieces, one by one. The Dravari commander finally understood. This was no accident. This was no primitive defense. This trash, it is their weapon. They turned garbage into a fleet. But by then, 7 of his 10 cruisers were gone. The rest were crippled. The commander gave the order to retreat. It was the first time a Dravari fleet had ever fled from a primitive world. They left behind wreckage, flames, and silence. On Earth, General Hale stood tall. His officers waited for his word. The victory was clear, but Hale did not smile. They will be back, he said. Next time, with more ships, stronger ones. And when they come, we must be ready. In the darkness of space, the wreckage of the Dravari ships joined the junk field. Soon, Earth's engineers would drag it in, rebuild it, and turn it into new weapons. The trash ring would only grow, and somewhere far away, in the Grand Council chamber, voices were rising. Reports of the Dravari defeat spread like wildfire. Some laughed at the rumor. Others shook in fear. The Sarati ambassador Kale stood and shouted to the council, "You still think this world is weak? You still think it is only trash? Then remember this day. The Empire sent 10 warships, and Earth sent back fire." The chamber fell into silence. For the first time, the galaxy began to wonder, what is Earth hiding? The nightmare was only spreading. The Dravari Empire was furious. 10 warships destroyed. The humiliation echoed across the stars. The Council of Races demanded answers, but the Dravari only offered one. Earth would be crushed in secret halls of power. The Dravari leaders spoke with rage. They dare to resist us with their trash? Then we will burn their world to ashes. We will show the galaxy what happens to insects who bite the hand of the Empire. Plans were made. A new fleet was assembled, 50 warships, each larger than a city, each armed with weapons that could shatter moons. The commanders laughed cruelly. No amount of garbage could stop such force. But Earth was watching. General Marcus Hale stood in the underground command chamber, his eyes fixed on the star. Maps. His advisors argued, his officers worried. 50 ships were too many, even with their hidden weapons, even with their drones. The numbers were overwhelming. One officer whispered, "General, maybe we should reveal ourselves to the council. Ask for help." If the galaxy knew, Hale cut him off. His voice was sharp, cold. "No, the council is not our ally. They mock us, same as the Dravari. If we beg now, they will treat us as pawns. We must stand alone. Humanity will survive by its own strength, or not at all." The room fell silent. They knew Hale was right. On the edge of the solar system, hidden probes caught the first sight of the Dravari fleet entering real space. 50 massive ships, formation tight, weapons glowing. The sky itself seemed to tremble, but Earth did not. Panic. They prepared the trap. The junk field around Earth grew thicker. Old wrecks were pulled from orbit, reshaped into deadly formations. New weapons were hidden among the debris. Railguns, plasma cannons, swarms of drones, all waiting in silence. Yet this time Hale had something more dangerous. Buried deep in the asteroid belt, a project long kept secret powered up. It was called Leviathan, a weapon not of beauty, not of grace, but of terror, built from mining rigs, asteroid engines, and stolen alien tech. It was humanity's monster. The Dravari fleet did not know. They entered Earth's orbit with confidence. The commander broadcast a message across all channels, his voice dripping with contempt. "Humans of Earth, you are nothing. You live in garbage. You fight with garbage. But now you face the power of the Empire. Surrender, and we may let a few of you live. Resist, and your world will burn." The reply was silence. Then the junk field moved again. Weapons hidden in debris opened fire. Missiles streaked from shadows. Drones surged in clouds. Trap closed. The Dravari roared with laughter.
"Fools! Did you think the same trick would?"
Worked twice. This time, their shields held. Plasma cannons tore through the drones. Beams of fire vaporized chunks of orbiting trash. The humans fought fiercely, but the Empire pushed forward. One by one, Earth's defenses cracked. Drones exploded in fire. Hidden turrets melted under plasma storms. The orbit around Earth turned into a glowing storm of wreckage in the command. Bunker officers stared in horror. "They're breaking through. General, they'll reach the ground." Hale's voice was iron. "Not yet. Wait for Leviathan." Above Earth, 20 human defense platforms collapsed in fire. The Dravari laughed. The commander's voice filled the skies again. "See how icily your garbage burns? They're nothing. Nothing." And then the stars shifted. Something vast moved in the darkness of space. At first, the Dravari thought it was an asteroid, but then it powered up. Engines the size of mountains flared blue. Metal plates unfolded, revealing weapons that dwarfed anything the humans had shown before. Leviathan had awakened, the massive war machine, built from scraps of asteroids and ancient tech, roared to life. Its first shot was a railgun blast, the size of a thunderstorm. It tore through 3 Dravari cruisers in a single strike. The ships didn't even have time to scream, they were just gone. The Dravari commander froze. "What? What is that?" Leviathan did not answer. It fired. Again, a storm of missiles streaking from its sides. Fighters poured out, human pilots riding ships built from salvaged alien wreckage. The battlefield turned upside down. Earth's defenses, nearly broken, came alive with renewed fury. The Dravari fleet, so sure of victory, now faced a monster. Born from garbage and rage, in the council chamber far away, the news spread like lightning. The Sarati ambassador Kale stood once again, his voice trembling with awe. They said Earth was weak. They said Earth was trash. But tell me now, do you call that monster trash? No one in the chamber laughed. Back on Earth, General Hale watched the Leviathan strike again. His face was grim. This is only the beginning. The Empire will not stop. But now. Now they know what humanity can build from nothing. Above, the Dravari fleet burned. The nightmare was spreading across the stars. The Battle of Earth shook the galaxy. 50 Dravari warships destroyed. Not by an empire, not by an ancient race, but by a world everyone had mocked. The story spread like wildfire across the stars. Some refused to believe it. Others whispered in fear. And for the first time, the name Earth carried weight in galactic halls. But the Dravari did not retreat for long. Their pride was wounded. Their empire was vast. Losing one fleet was a shame. Losing two was a crime. Oh, they swore vengeance. In their war council, the Dravari overlords shouted in rage. They dare humiliate us? They dare use garbage against us? Then we will burn their entire system. It's not just Earth. Every moon, every rock, every trace of humanity. A grand armada was ordered, 500 ships, the largest fleet the Empire had ever sent against a single enemy. Their banners stretched across the void, their weapons glowing like suns. But Earth was ready in the hidden bunker, General Marcus. Hale studied the reports. Engineers worked day and night, pulling wreckage into orbit, forging new drones, rebuilding defenses. The Leviathan was repaired and armed again. Humanity had little time, but time was all they needed. An officer approached. Hale, his voice trembled. General, 500 ships. How can we stand against that? Even Leviathan cannot destroy them all. Hale's face was stone. Then we do not fight them in one place. We fight them everywhere. We make the battlefield the weapon. So the plan began. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden stations activated. In the asteroid belt, swarms of mines armed themselves, disguised as drifting rocks. On Mars, old drilling rigs unfolded into missile silos. On Jupiter's moons, disguised outposts powered railguns that could punch holes through capital ships. Even Saturn's rings were seeded with traps. The solar system itself became the weapon. When the Dravari Armada entered the system, their confidence was absolute. 500 ships against a single world. They believed it would be easy. There, Commander broadcast once again. Humans, this is your end. Your tricks, your trash, your monsters, none of it will save you. The Empire comes with fire, and fire will consume you. The reply was silence, then the traps awoke. The first ships entered the asteroid belt. For centuries, the belt had been ignored, just rocks and dust. But now the rocks moved. Mines disguised. As asteroids exploded, tearing destroyers apart, camouflaged cannons hidden in mining stations opened fire, ripping holes in cruisers. Drones, shaped like shards of stone, swarmed in clouds, eating away at the fleet. The Dravari roared in fury. They burned the belt with plasma storms, shattering rocks by the thousands. But every rock they destroyed unleashed more weapons. On Mars, missile silos opened, launching storms of warheads that streaked across the void. Dravari shields glowed under the impacts, cracking, breaking. Ships fell from formation, burning as they sank toward the red planet's surface. Jupiter's orbit became a graveyard. Outposts hidden in the shadows of its moons opened fire with massive railguns. One by one, Dravari battleships were struck down, holes punched through their armor like paper. The survivors tried to retreat, only to be dragged into Jupiter's storms, never to rise again. Even Saturn's rings betrayed them. What looked like ice and dust were laced with charges, mines, and drones. As the fleet entered the rings, explosions. lit the skies, breaking apart entire formations. The commander of the Dravari Armada could not believe it. They turned their system into a trap. Every rock, every moon, it's a fortress. But worse was yet to come. Leviathan arrived. From the darkness beyond Pluto, the monster war machine ignited its engines. It streaked across the system. Colossal railguns firing, missiles unleashing storms of fire. Wherever Leviathan passed, Dravari ships died in clouds of flame. The Armada faltered. Hundreds of ships burned. And still, Earth fought with weapons born from scraps. In the bunker, General Hale watched with unblinking eyes. His officers were screaming in excitement, but Hale's face remained grim. This is not victory yet. The Dravari will not stop. They cannot stop. They will bring the full might of their empire until either we fall, or they do. Far away, in the Grand Council chamber, chaos erupted. Reports of the battle shocked the galaxy. Some demanded that Earth be crushed before it grew stronger. Others whispered that maybe Earth could be an ally against thee. Dr. Avera Ambassador Kale of the Serati stood once again. His voice shook the chamber. You see now? The humans do not waste. They turn trash into weapons, rocks into traps, and defeat into fire. You laughed at them. You called them weak. But tell me now if they can do this with garbage. What happens when they master true power? The chamber fell silent. Above the solar system, the Dravari Armada burned. But Earth knew the war was far from over. The nightmare had only just begun. The Dravari had learned one terrifying truth. Earth was not weak. What they had called trash, what they had mocked, was a fortress, a weapon, a hidden army. Every planet, every moon, every scrap of metal was alive with danger, yet their fury only grew now. They called in reinforcements, 1,000 ships, each larger than a city, weapons that could vaporize planets. The Emperor himself demanded the destruction of Earth. This was not just a battle. It was a crusade, but Earth was ready, from the hidden bunkers under mountains. General Marcus Hale watched the incoming fleet. His face was calm, almost unreadable, but his mind raced. Humanity had come far. They had survived previous attacks. But 1,000 ships, even Leviathan, might not be enough. Prepare the traps, Hale ordered. Every junk field, every asteroid, every hidden station. Activate Leviathan fully. Make the galaxy regret every word they spoke about Earth. The engineers nodded, hands flying over consoles. Systems long hidden from the galaxy roared to life. Drones armed themselves. Railguns and missile silos powered up. Even the smallest pieces of orbital junk hummed with deadly energy. When the Dravari fleet entered the system, it was like a storm approaching. 1,000 warships stretched across the void, shields glowing, weapons primed. They fired warning beams at Earth. Demanding surrender, silence answered them. Then the battlefield erupted. Asteroids spun to life, mines exploding against the first ships. Drones swarmed, tearing through fighters with precision no Dravari pilot could anticipate. Leviathan fired massive railguns, obliterating capital ships in a single shot. Missiles launched from hidden silos streaked across space like comets of death. The Dravari commander could not believe it. How? How can one planet? Another wave of destruction answered him. Ships that tried to flee were trapped in fields of magnetic mines. Fighters that attacked were shredded by hidden drones disguised as junk. Railguns from moons tore through cruisers like paper. The Draver's massive fleet began to crumble, but the humans were not reckless. Every attack, every trap, every strike was carefully calculated. General Hale had learned the patterns of the Empire, predicted their moves, and turned every strength into a weakness. Some ships fell. Leviathan was hit multiple times, but each strike was absorbed, repaired, or deflected. Earth's engineers had learned from every previous battle, making their systems stronger, faster, smarter, and yet Hale knew this would not last forever. The Dravari would not retreat until Earth was a graveyard. He turned to his officers. Prepare the final phase. If the Empire does not stop, We will show them what humanity can do when they face extinction. Far across the galaxy, the council watched in fear. Rumors of the battle reached their chambers. The Serati ambassador Kale stood tall, voice trembling. With awe, they said Earth was nothing. They called it trash. Yet one planet fights off 1,000 ships. Do you understand now? This is not luck. This is humanity. And this is only the beginning. In the outer orbit of the solar system, a shadow moved. Not a ship, not a satellite. Something ancient, something hidden beyond Leviathan. It activated. A silent signal spread to every hidden human station. Every weapon, every trap, every drone, fully armed, fully ready. The humans had held back their deadliest cards until now. The Dravari commander noticed it too late. The fleet trembled under waves of unseen attacks. Systems went offline. Ships vanished in firestorms. Hundreds of vessels disappeared in seconds. Panic spread across the command bridge. They have weapons we cannot see. Hale's voice echoed in the bunker, calm, steady. They thought we were weak. They thought this planet was trash. They thought wrong. The fight continued, but the tide had turned. 1,000 warships, the pride of the Dravari Empire, were being broken by machines built from garbage. Ingenuity and centuries of human patience, and on Earth. Hale knew one thing with certainty. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity. Again, the nightmare was spreading farther than anyone could imagine. The galaxy watched in disbelief. 1,000 ships, the pride of the Dravari Empire, were being torn apart by a single world, a planet everyone had mocked as weak, backward, and powerless. Earth was no longer a target. Earth was a legend. But General Marcus Hale knew the fight was not over. Not yet. The Dravari were desperate. Their losses were catastrophic, but the Emperor would not allow defeat. Reinforcements were on the way. The survivors would regroup, and next time they would come with tens of thousands of ships. The war would escalate beyond anything humanity had prepared for. Hale turned to his officers. They will not stop. Cannot hold forever. Prepare the final phase. Leviathan will not fight alone. Every hidden weapon, every orbital station, every secret fleet, we release them now. The command center hummed with activity. Engineers worked furiously, activating drones, arming missile silos, and recalibrating railguns. Every scrap of metal, every discarded satellite, every forgotten probe became a weapon of destruction. Leviathan, the colossal war machine built from scraps, powered up fully. Its railguns glowed with lethal energy. Missiles streaked across the void like comets. Hidden stations flared to life, firing volleys into the enemy fleet. The Dravari armada advanced. But the battlefield was no longer theirs. Every attack met a trap. Every maneuver met destruction. From the outer belt, thousands of drones emerged. They moved like a single entity, slicing through fighters and tearing through shields. The Dravari commander watched his fleet crumble. Impossible! They are everywhere. This cannot be. Hale's voice was calm. This is what happens when you underestimate humanity. Across the solar system, Earth's traps activated with precision. Mining stations on Mars fired rockets that destroyed entire squadrons. Railguns on Jupiter's moons shattered the hulls of capital ships. The rings of Saturn erupted in controlled explosions, scattering Dravari ships into the void. The Dravari tried to retreat. They tried to regroup. But Leviathan moved through the battlefield like a predator. Every cruiser, every frigate, every fighter that dared escape was struck down. The sheer ingenuity of human engineering hidden in what the galaxy had called trash was unstoppable in orbit around Earth. The remnants of the fleet faced the final wave. Hidden stations unfolded, releasing new drones, new weapons, new surprises. The Dravari had underestimated humans again and again, and each miscalculation cost them dearly. Hale watched from the bunker. His eyes never left the battle. "Remember this day?" he said quietly. "Remember it well. The galaxy mocked us. For centuries, they called us weak. But now, they will remember the cost of underestimating humanity. The Emperor's voice echoed across communication channels, distant and furious. "Destroy them. Destroy that planet. Leave nothing alive." Leviathan fired its final salvo. A storm of missiles, railgun blasts, and drone strikes descended on the remaining ships. They exploded in fire, tearing the fleet apart piece by piece. The Dravari commander screamed in despair as his armada disintegrated before his eyes. Silence followed. Earth had won, but the victory was not just military. The galaxy had seen the power of a world no one expected. The message was clear. Humans were not weak. Humans were not backward. Humans were a force no empire could ignore. In the grand halls of the council, Ambassador Kale stood once again, voice trembling with awe. They called Earth trash. They mocked it. And yet one planet has defeated 1,000 ships. What do you call that now, Council? Weak backward? Or unstoppable? Across the stars, whispers of fear and respect spread. The galaxy was learning. A lesson it would never forget. Back on Earth, Hale looked at the battle reports. Leviathan had survived. Most drones and stations were intact. The junk field, once called worthless, was now an arsenal unmatched in the galaxy. Hali spoke quietly to his officers, almost to himself. They wanted to crush us. They wanted to laugh at us. They wanted to call us weak. But they forgot one thing. Humans never waste. Humans never give up. The galaxy will remember that, always. The nightmare that the galaxy had feared had just begun. Above, Earth's orbit was calm once more. The junk floated peacefully, but every piece was a weapon, every shadow a threat. Humanity had turned its weakness into power, and the galaxy had seen only a glimpse of what they could do. The final chapter of this war was coming, and when it did, the universe would know. Humans were no longer to be mocked. The galaxy held its breath. Earth had survived every attack, every fleet, every empire that had mocked it. But now, whispers spread of a final revelation, one the galaxy would never forget. General Marcus Hale stood in the underground command center watching the reports. The Dravari Empire was broken, their fleets shattered, their pride in ruins. Yet Hale knew the galaxy would not rest. Other empires, other councils had seen what humans could do. They would come. They would challenge humanity. But Hale smiled faintly. This was exactly what he had prepared for. "Activate the final protocol," he ordered. Engineers immediately obeyed. Screens lit up across the command center, showing every hidden station, every orbital defense. Every drone fleet now fully armed. The final protocol was simple. Earth would no longer hide. The galaxy would see the full power of humanity. As trash, not as weaklings, but as the architects of a new order. From the junk fields orbiting the planet, Leviathan stirred. But it was no longer alone. Hundreds of colossal machines, built from what the galaxy had called garbage, unfolded into war formations. Scraps of asteroids, broken satellites, ancient wrecks, each transformed into weapons of unimaginable power. Hale's officers gasped. "General, this is beyond anything we imagined." Hale shook his head. "This is only what they deserve to see." At the edge of the system, alien scouts appeared first, cautious, then curious. Messages reached the council. Earth had activated something massive, something terrifying. The Dravari survivors fled in panic, warning other empires, begging for mercy, but there was none. Humanity was done hiding. Halley spoke to the world through every frequency. His voice was calm, strong, unwavering, to the galaxy. "You called us weak. You called us trash. You mocked us, ignored us, and thought we would kneel. But we did not. We survived. We adapted, and now you will learn the cost of underestimating humanity." Then the final strike began. The orbital junk fields shifted like living armies. Railguns, missiles, and plasma cannons fired with deadly precision. Leviathan and its sisters moved as one, tearing apart the remnants of the Dravari forces. Planets that had served as staging grounds for invasions were hit with targeted strikes that left nothing alive. Asteroids, once ignored, became weapons that could crush entire fleets. The galaxy could only watch in awe and fear. And then Hal revealed the ultimate secret. hidden beneath Earth's surface. Ancient alien artifacts recovered over decades began to hum with energy. They powered Leviathan and every hidden station. Earth had not just turned trash into weapons, they had combined it with alien technology, creating a force the galaxy had never seen. Hale's voice echoed across all frequencies. This is the price of mocking humanity. This is the strength born from centuries of being ignored. You called us nothing. You were wrong. We are everything you feared and more. The final wave crushed the remaining Dravari ships. Their empire would recover, but the message was clear. Earth was untouchable. Humanity had risen from nothing. Every piece of discarded metal, every broken machine, every scrap of old technology had been forged into the deadliest weapon in the galaxy. The council convened in silence. No one dared speak. No. The Sarati ambassador Kale finally stood, voice trembling with awe. They called Earth trash. They called it weak. And yet, one world has stood against the greatest empire and won. The galaxy will never be the same.
On
Earth Hale watched the horizon from the command bunker. The planet was safe. Leviathan and the hidden fleets rested once more. The junk fields drifted peacefully, but every piece was alive with potential, ready to defend the world again if needed. He turned to his officers. This is only the beginning. The galaxy will come again and we will be ready. We have shown them who we are. Humanity is not trash. Humanity is the nightmare they will never forget. Across the stars, the word spread. Earth had risen. A world once ignored, a world called weak, had become the Empire's nightmare. The galaxy would remember the day humanity refused to bow. The day trash became the deadliest weapon in the universe. And the day the humans showed their true power. The universe had learned its lesson. And humanity. Humanity smiled quietly already, preparing for the future. The nightmare was theirs, and it had only just begun.